The internet computer has been on an absolute tear recently, with the ICP token in the last 1 month gaining nearly 200%. ICP earlier on this year was called by many a scam, people telling us that it was going to go to nothing, and yet they've been proven wrong. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what is going on behind the scenes with ICP that's really driving this momentous move towards the upside. As well as that, we're going to look at whether or not it's a good time to be taking profits, whether we should be diving into this token, and where I anticipate ICP going over the next couple of years. So that sounds good. Hit the like button and let's get into today's video. Now guys, if you are subscribed to this channel throughout this year, you would have seen I've been posting many times about ICP, mainly through this kind of period of time down below, which I identified was being a Wyckoff accumulation phase, which pretty much just played out perfectly. Then since the start of this month, where we broke out from this descending line, we've then had this massive boom towards the upside from about $4.50 to currently $13.60. Now, throughout this year, many people have been referring to ICP as a scam, and there's a big reason behind that, and I've actually covered it in a thread over on my Twitter page, which is linked down below, so go and check it out, guys. Basically, it was manipulated by Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX, who was trying to boost his own investments in Solana. And since all that's kind of slowly disappeared into the distance, ICP has now started to gain a lot of traction again, given the potential behind this monster crypto project. As we look at CoinGecko, you can see that ICP currently sits number 17 in terms of market cap in the overall crypto space, gaining larger market share as days go by, currently sat with a market cap of $6 billion, with a circulating supply currently at 454 million tokens. 24-hour trading volume, pretty healthy, $850 million. Now, in other videos, I've covered in more depth what ICP and how it works, but basically it is a blockchain that runs at web speed. It has unbounded capacity for running various different applications and is hoping to be the future of the internet, replacing the legacy stack, which is basically relying on various different cloud services. And what this simply means is this: it's a platform that allows developers to build smart contracts in the form of canisters that are then built directly onto the internet, making the most of pure internet speed and super low costs and all that good stuff. It means that decentralized applications, websites, etc. can be built directly onto the internet computer for just the cost of $5 per gigabyte per year, which is about 20,000 times cheaper than Ethereum and significantly cheaper than Solana and anything else out there. It's built by the Dfinity Foundation, which is a non-profit organization based in Switzerland, currently with 1,600 employees, and therefore is the largest in terms of research and development teams anywhere in the entire crypto space. It's headed up by this guy, Dominic Wood, who's thought of as potentially being one of the most brilliant minds in the entire crypto space. But this video isn't here for you to have a tutorial on how ICP works. I've actually made previous videos about this, and as well there's a really good in-depth breakdown of what ICP is that Coin Bureau does from a couple of years back, which I highly recommend checking out. But what this video is about is identifying what it is that's really kind of catalyzing this move, and ultimately what catalyzes any move in crypto. You may have realized more recently that there's a bunch of different tokens that will pump at any given time. Meme coins, etc. will massively rally because of the community spirit, marketing, etc. And that plays a very important part in cryptocurrency, because you also have lots of brilliant projects out there that don't really do much in terms of marketing, and they struggle because of it. And up until recently, many content creators haven't really talked about ICP, with the exception of Jerry Banfield, who's pretty much gone all in on ICP and makes really detailed and interesting videos, and he goes into some real depth and breaks down a lot of his knowledge on ICP, which is really useful to look at. But this is a massive multi-billion-dollar market cap coin, so it's not really being heavily driven by the influencers out there right now, but it is starting to attract in various YouTube content creators as the price moves up, which is obviously going to have a positive knock-on effect for the price. So this ICP price obviously is being helped along by retail investors, but mostly I feel that this money coming into it right now is more from kind of institutional level investment. Now, if you come across the Internet Computer website, we want to know what it is that's driving these institutions to start investing in a project like the Internet Computer. And if you just scroll down and you click here on the dashboard and on live stats, then we can find out some really interesting information. You can see all the blocks being created at the moment at an incredible rate, 36 blocks per second. all the number of transactions that are taking place, and various other different bits and pieces. And we'll break this down as we go through to identify whether or not this is going to lead to an increase over time in the price. Now, what I want to look at down below is a few different bits and pieces. Now, one thing that puts a lot of people off when we look at new cryptocurrencies is an increase in the supply of a token, because obviously the price of any token in any crypto is simply the market cap divided by the number of tokens. Therefore, if you inject more tokens into a cryptocurrency, then the overall price gets diluted more, and ultimately this is not necessarily a positive thing for any crypto project. And at the moment, Internet Computer is an inflationary asset because obviously it's printing more new ICP tokens all the time. But it curbs this printing rate by having various different things. And you can see the cycle burn rate. So every time you are sending Internet Computer from one ICP wallet to another, or you're interacting with ICP in any way, there is a small amount of burning that's going on. So at this current time, you can see the cycle burn is increasing as we go. And that's because more and more people are interacting with the ICP platform. The more people who are using it, transacting on it, etc., are going to cause more burning to take place. And this is going to start to affect the inflationary supply and start to, over time, potentially turn it into a deflationary asset. And if you come across to CoinGecko, you can see that the circulating supply is 454 million at current levels, with the total supply being 512 million into the future, which means that the circulating supply currently is already pretty high compared with what we're going to see in the future. We're also seeing this, which is the number of canisters being created. And if we go over time, something very important shows, and I really love metrics like this. When you're looking at any particular project out there that's being boosted, you want to understand what it is that's really starting to drive the price, and whether that price rise is being backed up by anything. Now, if we look at Token Terminal, you will see that the Internet Computer, which is this here, doesn't really make much in terms of fees right now, because most of these days it's not really making more than about a few $100. And there's a lot of crypto projects that are running like that. So that's definitely something that's worth paying attention to. Remember, this is a very early stage project, despite being around for the last sort of 5 years or so. But given the size of the job and the task that they're trying to take on, it might be a little bit of a slower burn earlier on before we really start to see some of those fees and things take off. But the number of canisters, etc., increasing is good. More smart contracts means that more developers are coming onto ICP to build their platforms. So why would they do that? Well, for a number of reasons. One, because of this. It's extremely cheap to build on top of Internet Computer. If you want to build dApps and websites that can run at the top speeds out there and not really increase in price as more and more users come on board, that's why someone might want to develop on Internet Computer. Now, something as well that's really good for the overall token supply is people staking away tokens, locking them away for a period of time. Why? Because it removes those tokens from a supply. If tokens start to decrease because people are locking them away, then ultimately, according to the supply and demand model, it's a positive thing. As you can see, the rewards you can gain on ICP are up to 16.1%, which is actually pretty big. And that's over an 8-year period. Now, if you reduce the number of years that you're willing to stake for, then your reward is also diminished, but you gain other benefits by staking, etc. Now, as you come down below, what we can see is over the period of time, the number of voters are starting to slowly increase. And that's good because it means more people are staking away their tokens. And here you can see, if we go across to this side, that after 8 years, you can see this, 134 million tokens are locked away for 8 years. So 134 million tokens. Remember, there's like a 5 million total max supply are locked away for 8 years, which means that more than a fifth of all the tokens have been locked away for 8 years, and a bunch of other tokens have been kind of locked away for various other periods of time. That's also very positive, okay? And that's really good as we see people, more and more people staking all the time, ultimately betting on ICP for the long run. Now, personally, as someone who wants to make money in cryptocurrency and has a bit more of a kind of a shorter term mindset with this, I'm talking more like 1 or 2 years, would I be wanting to stake ICP or any other crypto for 8 years? Personally, no, because of this. During crypto bull markets, no matter how successful and how much adoption, how much people love a particular token, ultimately the markets are cyclical. I would love to be able to pull ICP tokens out in the next year to 18 months, wait for a drop in the price, and then buy back in. I think personally I can gain more than 16% by doing that. But obviously lots of other people disagree with me and have gone for this. Okay, so far, all the stats look pretty reasonable. As we come into Internet Computer's ecosystem, you can learn more about some of the different projects that are being built on ICP right now. And it's actually really cool. If you come to this website, you can see all the different projects. When you go through SocialFi, we can see like different games and stuff that are being developed on ICP. Now, some of these games you might be like, oh, well, you know, there's much better games elsewhere. But you yourself can go in and try it with things like Cubetopia, because me, and maybe you as well, if you're non-technical, can go and start to develop different projects and different things that other people might want to come and use without having to have much technical knowledge at all, by making the most of this full stack ecosystem. Now, coming down below, you can see some things being built on the internet computer, which is offering basically a layer 2 solution for Bitcoin and as well for Ethereum. But Bionic has recently been built on ICP. What is Bionic? Bionic is the first of its kind, and it is an ordinals marketplace. I want you to think of ordinals as basically NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, to make it simple. But I know there's always one or two people who are like, you didn't explain that in enough depth. I apologize, but this video is for a broad audience, so bear with me. Now, what do we know about this? Well, if ordinals and BRC20 take off, which has already been happening and is anticipated to continue happening over the next year or so, well, you would likely see some of these marketplaces, such as this, really starting to take off. And then the whole ecosystem gives more emphasis to working with ICP, then, things are going to look very bright from here on in. So if we were understanding whether or not ICP might do well as internet computer, well, that doesn't necessarily promise us that the token's going to do well. Well, we need to understand what the token is and what it's really doing on the internet computer. Well, the internet computer token is used for interacting with the internet computer. So if you want to go and interact with all these different applications, then obviously you need to hold ICP. As well as that, developers who want to build canisters or smart contracts onto the internet computer will also have to pay in ICP tokens and lock away ICP tokens for the future. And there's various other things such as transaction fees, which you can see are seriously low, but lots of other bits and pieces that will use ICP. And it's not just about creating lots in terms of fees for ICP that could drive up the price, but a lot of people having to stake away ICP and use them in transactions again takes away from the supply. Remember, everything in crypto and everything in the world almost runs on a supply-demand model, and therefore more users equals lower supply. Lower supply as demand increases, ultimately that means more money. You can go and learn, and they have loads of information on how it all works, as well as a very detailed YouTube channel. You can go and click on the technical roadmap and you can find out more about all of the different things that are coming up into the future. This is an ongoing project, okay? So there's loads of new things that could come in and become catalysts for driving their price further into the future. Now guys, this is not a sponsored video for ICP, which allows me to be a bit more free about what I'm going to say about it. I really like the whole ecosystem. I think it's really good and I think it's really interesting. We'll look at the charts in just a minute. But what maybe could be a concern into the future that I think Coin Bureau talked about before, and correct me if I'm wrong down below, feel free to tell me that I'm wrong about this. But in the future, if ICP does take over the entire internet, it means that you have to have created an internet identity. Now, imagine in the future if everyone's using phones that are running on the internet computer. You won't have applications on the background of your device anymore. You'll have to log into the internet computer in order to access all of these applications, which is great because it's cheap and it's fast. But that means that you can only ever interact with anything in the future on the internet if your identity remains intact. And this is a decentralized platform, but ultimately maybe feels a bit centralized. So that's probably a little bit of a concern for me. But given throughout the year, I've been sort of checking out this website and seeing kind of it growing all the time, all of these kind of different applications and things in this ecosystem have been being added on all the time. All of these different applications that you use from day to day, such as WhatsApp or Airbnb or Amazon, are going to start to be built on things like ICP. If ICP does become the future of the internet, then you better believe this is going to be a huge, huge play from an investment point of view. But whether they pull it off or not, there's still going to be investors who want to have a crack at this on the off chance that they manage to pull it off. Now, therefore, ICP is increasing in price. Shock horror. Now, personally, looking at this from whether or not we think it has much upside, let's have a look at some of the projects that are sat up in these kind of upper echelons of the crypto market. Now, personally, I believe that ICP has the ability to reach somewhere in the top 7, 8 cryptos. Which one of these it replaces, I don't want to upset you. But let's just choose Solana right now for the current market capitalization, which you can see is sat here at $44 billion. Now, if you've been subscribed to my channel, you'll know I'm heavily bullish on Solana. And I think that Solana is going to reach somewhere around $700 to $800 in the future. At current prices, Solana's at $100. So let's just say that the market cap does an 8 or 9x conservatively from here. That would see Solana reaching a market cap somewhere just under $400 billion. ICP currently sits with a market cap of $6 billion or just over $6 billion. Let's just kind of purely speculatively, because I know people love this kind of stuff, anticipate where ICP could go if it reaches the market cap of Solana at the top of this bull market. Now, currently, to Solana's market cap is a 7.3x. Now, that's a 7.3x to where Solana is right now, or it's a 66x to the potential top of where Solana could be in the future. Now, you know I don't really like to do this because I don't want you to be tied in and thinking about like the future 66x, is it going to happen or not? But what I want to consider is this. Lots of people in my free Telegram, which is linked down below, who are buying along with me at the bottom of the market when we were down here at like $3 or $4, are now asking, should I be taking profits? Now, this is a very difficult question in crypto right now because of this. The very fact that you're asking the question, should I be taking profits, means that you don't probably have much idea of where ICP could go in the future, which is fair enough because obviously it's only speculation, and as well because there's so much noise out there that it's confusing. Now, given that I've said that there's a potential, not a guarantee, of a 66x in the future, which would see ICP going to like $850, then whether you take profits or not should be kind of geared around that. Now, do I think it's going to do a 66x? Probably not. But do I think it's going to go to $100 plus? Maybe $150? Absolutely. I can't see why this project can't garner enough excitement and attention during the next 18 months to reach $100 plus. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and this is not financial advice. So would I be taking profits right now? Well, personally, no. But we all have different situations. Now, personally, if you're bought in down here at the bottom, then you're already sat on like a 4x, okay, or just over a 4x. But I do anticipate that the next kind of move up at some point, whether we get a pullback or not, is going to take us to at least this point. If you think that in the future, the ICP or whatever crypto you're holding right now that's been up is going to continue into the future, all you need to really understand is this. Is it a meme coin? If the answer is no, then ask yourself, well, what is it doing? Is it starting to gain traction? Is it at the start of hype and excitement? Or am I going to see more upside action? If I think I'm going to be seeing more upside action, then I wouldn't personally be getting out right now because I feel that there is a lot more growth that's going to come over the next few years. Can I wake up tomorrow and see this down 30%? Possibly, who knows? But if I'm not focused on the day-to-day movements of this coin, I think the overall trajectory is significantly higher than where it is right now. Would I be taking profits? Not right now. I still think it's too early. I do think that maybe I would be taking profits, you know, if I was really, really risk averse, somewhere around $23. If I was less risk averse, $37. And you see, these are the pullback points, okay? These are where we're going to see some pullbacks, $58 and another one up here, $87, okay? After that, you know, we don't really rely too much on this data up here because it's all, you know, FTX manipulation. Now, everything sounds really good and dandy. And if you haven't already, like, become a massive degenerate and run away to go and buy ICP because you've managed to have a bit of a calm moment and thought, maybe I'll listen to the end of this video because it's an important thing. Should I buy ICP right now? Well, with any cryptocurrency, no matter how great the project sounds, no matter how exciting it is, you don't buy after those pumps like that. Because, yes, ICP can continue straight up. And it could continue for a day or two. And some of you will be like, oh, you didn't tell me to buy ICP and it did another like $7. Fine. But you don't buy on massive pumps, okay? What you do is you wait for the pullbacks. And fortunately, ICP has given us the perfect example of that. We saw earlier on this month, ICP had a really big rally up. What we're looking for in this current run is a day or two where we start to get a big candle wick. This thin bit, okay? This thin bit here tells me something. It tells me that the buyers who have pushed this up are starting to sell off, and then the new buyers are getting exhausted. They can't keep pushing the price because all these people down here are taking profits. Now, as people start to take profits, when you get these wicks, it tends to mean, not always, but it tends to mean that you're going to get some form of a cool off. Now, you see here, we get a wick and we didn't get a cool off, but we get a cool off. Now, what you can see is you get a pullback. And then you see after 1, 2, 3 days of white candles or red candles, whichever chart you're looking at, you get a wick towards the other side, showing that the sellers are starting to get exhausted and the buyers re-enter the market. We get this candle come in and tell us that the buyers are re-entering. Well, what you can do is this. You can draw a green box across there because you know at this point the buyers are coming in and stepping in. The price pulls away, the sellers have another go, and then guess what? All the people who are happy to buy here are still happy to buy here. This is what's called a buy zone. And you can see this, we get buying in, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, like 10, 12 days in here. 12 days that you didn't need to panic and be losing sleep because you didn't know whether it was going to carry on down or anything like that. Now, obviously, on a buy zone, it can continue lower. but your price opportunity is then much better than all those people who were losing sleep because they bought here, who were sat down at like 27% for like 2 weeks. You don't want to be sat down 27% for 2 weeks. You might end up being anyway, okay? But what we want to wait for is a nice pullback. Now, as you can see, if we look into this, we're not showing much signs of pullbacks. You can go down to a 4 hour and see that ICP still looks strong. But at any minute, you could get a big sell come in and it could drop it down. On a 4 hour chart, if you were looking to speculate, you would draw your buy zone here. Why? Well, because on the way up, you get this kind of pull back into this area, and then you see continuation. This to me shows me that there's an accumulation area going on here. And if I previously look at this area, previous areas of resistance turn into future areas of support. If ICP comes back down to $10, $11, it's a good purchase in my opinion, but that's not worth anything because I'm not a financial advisor. But you know, what I would do, set an alert in here. Do I think ICP is going to come down here? And all I need to do is right click on TradingView, and I can say buy ICP, and I can write Peter, and for the sake of not giving you financial advice, and I will write Peter will buy ICP, and then I can go and do whatever I want to do in the world, and then if it pulls back to here, then I get to buy. If ICP continues, at some point it's going to create another sideways action and a pump, and eventually it'll pull back to one of those buy zones. You keep having to be patient and disciplined and wait for one of those buy zones to materialize. If it doesn't materialize for a long time, then accept that you missed it and find another coin. Okay, easy. There's always another coin out there. So currently we're waiting for ICP to anticipate a buy zone. If it carries on towards the upside, then great. If it pulls back to a nice strong area, then great again. But all of these things are independent to each of us. We all have different amounts of money. We all have different responsibilities. Some people have kids, some people don't have kids, some people have mortgages, some people have wives or husbands or whatever else. Your ability to take risk and all those different things all depends on your own current situation. You need to identify how much money you need to make in this bull market, how you intend to do it, and don't be overconfident. Say to yourself, I need to make myself a 10x to 15x in this bull market, and it's pretty straightforward. You can be calm and careful and then go into different coins that you fancy as you go. Will ICP continue higher in the next few days? I don't know. Does anyone know for sure? Probably not. But all we do know for sure, in my own mind, is going to be worth a lot more in the future than it is right now. So I wait for a little bit of a pullback, then maybe I can save myself 30, 40%. And people are like, oh, 30 or 40% doesn't matter. If it does a 66%, then it makes like 25x difference. So yeah, 30 or 40% does matter. Now, you may have realized by now that crypto is a pretty complicated place, and being able to buy at the exact right time is quite a difficult thing. Therefore, I've set up with my friend Peter Voogd, who made 7 figures in the last bull market, the League, which is an elite crypto club, where each week we have live Zoom calls with the community who can share their portfolios, can ask for breakdowns on portfolios. I'm also sharing various different coins that I've been buying from day to day. Now, I don't buy coins every single day, and you should avoid, like the plague, anyone who gives you a signal or a buy call every single day, because they'll just get you wrecked. Ultimately, we focus on the creme de la creme opportunities as and when they meet all the criteria that we're looking at. Not only will you gain access to this group where myself and a bunch of other carefully selected traders will share their setups and things that they're buying, but you'll also gain access to my personal research and the team's research on all the different projects I look at. You'll also gain access in the future to various other millionaire speakers, crypto millionaires, as well as people who've made tons of money in property and loads of other different bits and pieces in this platform. So make sure you go and check out the Crypto League in the link down below. It's currently $97 per month, but it will be increasing in the new year. So if you want to lock in that price at $97 for life, make sure you get onto that link down below. I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, hit the like button. Let me know where you're thinking ICP is going to go into the future. Hit the subscribe, and I will see you in the very next video. Bye-bye.